Welcome to Future Late Show. I am Crayon. This is my companion.
And I'm David Beckham. I'm the blue one.
You don't sound very sure of yourself. I'm the red one.
I'm pretty sure.
I think I know who I am too. It's been a while. We've been traveling for a while, but you're watching Future Late Show. You're listening to it as well on your little internet thingy. And here on this show, we're going to do a few things. We're going to talk about FLCL. We're going to have a little brief intermission with our friend, Unfortunate Joe, who we kidnapped. And we're going to be taking your questions. Tell me a little more, David Beckham. What are we doing today?
Well, I don't think we're going to go through. It looks like I've got my, looks like in camera view, I have the porn magazine I checked out from the library.
Yeah.
On the floor there. Yeah, that's going to be it. We're going to be, this is the first time I'm excited. I'm excited to finally be here. I'm excited that we're talking about this show. I am not fucking excited that our furniture is all floating. We should have thought about that. But
it's pretty trashy. I mean, like this is the only stuff we could get. You know, when we stole all this stuff and left, you know, that planet we came from. But we're here now, and it's been a long ass trip. And I've watched this show again recently, and let's dive into this, man.
Yeah,
FLCL. It's, if you had to just describe this really quickly to someone who'd never, if you had to describe this show to someone who'd never watched TV before, what would you say?
I would say it's one of the strangest coming-of-age high school dramas you will probably ever watch. That it might be one of the strangest possible. I don't know. I don't know where the boundary line is there, but it could be one of the strangest possible. What about you?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's a okay, someone who's ever watched TV doesn't even know what deconstruction means, so I'll just put that analogy aside. But it is really a deconstruction, in some ways an abstraction of the traditional robot anime narrative. And you know, like there's plenty of robot animes to choose from. You know, in Japan, it's like you got the Evangelions, which we'll get back to that in a second. Evangelion, obviously Gundam, Gurren Lagann. What are the other big robot animes that are super popular?
Yeah, I think you mentioned Gundam Wing.
Yeah.
Right. That's the one that I watched growing up.
Yeah, I think they started. I think the Gundam series started in '79 or something like that. So
yeah, it's like 4,000 years old in internet years.
It's really fucking old. But this, I think, is maybe the only one I've watched where they really were like, you know, what is happening here when this kid gets into the robot? And it does the kind of a similar thing to Evangelion, but it doesn't take itself seriously in any way.
Right. And so just as a bit of overview for anybody like who hasn't watched it, essentially, you've got this kid who, I mean, literally this kid gets run over by a Vespa. First of all, this has to be maybe the only time that someone has gotten run over by a Vespa and turned into a hero because of it. But he starts growing these horns out of his head. And,
I have those too. I have horns.
And yeah, they look a lot like yours. And they all, you know, sort of occasionally, they're sort of this evil megacorp thing in this city, and they have a huge factory building thing that looks like an iron.
Yeah, medical mechanica.
Yeah, and eventually, every once in a while, the steam comes out of this thing, and then a robot comes out of his head, and which sounds weird to say, but that's what happens. I mean,
in some ways, one could say that this is no weirder than any other robot anime. It's like it's as implausible. So they almost say, let's take the implausibility and just run it into the ground. And this kid is Naota, right? So that's everything centers around this kid. Naota lives in a sleepy town with his dad, and it's Naota, Mamimi, and Haru, right? The evil, not evil. She's
what, Haruko? I mean, she's an investigator. She's not good, but she's not bad.
Chaotic good.
Yeah. I mean, and I think first of all, when you mention his dad is creepy as shit.
Yeah, it's too much of the sex from him.
Yeah, dude, it's way too much sex from the dad in this show. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, and so I think like the ultimate tension of this, and one of the things I think is really cool about this show is that it is so absurd that it sort of allows some of the really simple sort of trajectories that people go through as they sort of come of age in their teens and whatever. It allows sort of these simple themes to come to the forefront of the show and actually be pretty like powerful at times.
I like that you
Um,
bring that up because this shit is 6 episodes long. So like you got to think about that a little bit. Like like there are certain animes like I don't know, Gundam Seed I think had, I mean, like I think 26. It might have had a couple of seasons. There, everyone has watched anime that have like 70 episodes. Some of them even have like 200
mhm.
episodes. But this one, it's crunched down, and the lore is really unimportant. Like you said, we think Haruko's an investigator. We think we sort of know what's going on, but you're right. It is heavily driven on the emotions of what's happening. It is really about the coming of age.
Yeah, because I mean, like the overarching story is this person Haruko shows up because she's looking for this power thing that the corporation has, supposedly, who are supposedly trying to blow up the universe or take it over or whatever. It ultimately doesn't really matter that much, and it ends up just being like a lot of really funny and at times like kind of moving like moments of just this dude, like his coming of age story and how he is developing as a person from like an obvious like child at the beginning to like at least an obvious sort of proto adult, right?
Yeah.
At least like the beginnings of being an adult by the end of the 6 episodes, which is they're like 23-minute episodes. They're not even hour-long episodes.
And
So
it's very fast. And I mean, I think this show is clever because you get the monster fight, and you get the introduction of the monster from whatever's poking out of his head, and there's inevitably a fight, but in these super creative ways, and they fight him with curry and baseball bats and stuff like that. But I like that you mentioned him becoming an adult, because I think at the heart of many like what they call shonen animes, which have to do with boyhood and like responsibility and all that stuff, at the heart of it is always like this concept of what are you responsible for? You know, what will you fight for? You see this trope come up over and over again in anime. The interesting thing about Naota is like he is a reluctant hero, much like Shinji Ikari, but in a
mhm.
probably like if you had to compare emo-ness of Shinji and Naota, what would you say the emo levels are?
Dude, I don't know. That's interesting. That's like yeah, I don't know. They're neck and neck coming around the last corner
You
for
think so?
sure of the race. I mean, I think like I would say, you know, the emo-ness in this show with Nauta is very like there's like I mean there's it's very naive on some level, right? Like he's genuinely shocked at all these times throughout the show where it's like, yeah, dude, of course that's what's happening. And on some level there's this backdrop of like, oh yeah, man, I mean he's got robots coming out of his fucking head, so he's
Right.
allowed to be unsettled, right?
Yeah.
Like on some level who wouldn't be? But yeah, I mean he strikes me as being very well, I'd say it's like a little bit. He might be a little bit less, but I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
I think he's a little bit less because I mean, think one thing we do have to say about Evangelion is they had a lot more time, and
Mhm.
again, same studio, and this bears repeating. Remember that these people did the serious thing. Now they're doing the funny thing, and they even mention Evangelion in this. But Shinji to me felt like not only did he not want to do anything, but he seemed like he'd probably be okay with just dying. He
Right?
seemed
Yeah.
like really depressed in a terminal sort of way. Like Naota has some kind of enjoyment out of life. I feel like he plays baseball and like he looks up to his brother and like there are things that he likes, even though he complains all the time. I think Shinji's emo levels were just like super the super pit of existence. But like we got other Mamimi, I think she's sort of a love interest, kind
Right.
of.
Well, and that plays on a really interesting theme that's in this show and also in some other shows that I've seen, especially something like Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo, where like there's a lot of like hinted at romantic interest or some romantic tension at different times between different characters, but it
Right.
never really goes anywhere. I mean, this actually goes further than like Samurai Champloo or Cowboy
Mm,
Bebop because like at the end he has this moment where he's like, I'm in love with you, right? Like that
yeah.
doesn't happen in that show. I mean even in Cowboy Bebop, like I guess it does kind of happen in the last episode, but it's like there's never this sense in which like anyone in this show is like the massive, it's like the primary love interest, even though he tells her at the end that he loves her because he's like there's that tension with a couple other characters along the way, right? At least one other one, at least
Yeah.
with Mamimi.
Yeah, I guess that's that concept tsundere
Mhm.
that you anime folks out there know. It's like, oh, I like this woman is super. You know what? Perfect example of this is another show that we aliens like. Hey Arnold, you know, like Helga, like she's
Yeah, man.
super mean to you, but like she likes you at the same time. Like that whole thing. You're right
Yeah.
that there's usually not that release in anime, so that does make things kind of different. Now Haruko is I don't even know that we can engage with her emotionally on a
Right.
remotely human level. She doesn't have anything other than she's like I'd put her at a sort of a demigod status. If you're considering this the way you would classical literature, she's something like she's above you. She's this thing you're aspiring
Yeah.
to, right?
Yeah, it plays well. I mean, because that's true for sure, and it plays well into like it plays well into like the fact that when when you're a dude in high school and there's this like older girl that you're into who's like a few years older, it always feels like they're in this other wavelength than you're in. Like not always, but I can remember it feeling that way. I can remember that happening to my friends and stuff. Where it's like, oh shit, you're a freshman, and maybe you really like the senior girl, and it's like you're just so far away on some level.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that they did a really good job of him having an inferiority complex. I think because he's like this young teen dude, and having an inferiority complex because he's a human, and she clearly on some level is not, right? Like on some
Yeah.
level she's got more going on than normal humans on Earth do.
Which makes me wonder. I mean, this is kind of a trope that bugs me. Is like I don't like the super humanoid alien. It's like, why did she have to look like an average like, human female? Like this wasn't necessary. Like I mean, like because we have the contrast is like Conti is sort of now explain this to me. She like brought him with her to install him in Naoto's brain. Was that what happened? Like
I I guess. Yeah, I don't
that's
know
where
how
that's
else to look at it. I mean, she ran over him and hit him with a guitar or bass. I guess it's a
right.
bass. Really hard. And that's one of the things I always love about watching anime is just really physically violent shit will happen to people and basically nothing. They're just like, ah man, ouch. Right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, you just got run over by a Vespa and hit really fucking hard with a bass.
But that's
Like,
sort of
and then he's get this huge bump on his head, right? And the funny thing is they kind of play on the fact that you're used to seeing like exaggerated lumps on people's heads in anime, but this
right.
one turns into like a robot basically deploying mechanism.
And you're coming on like another really good point is I think the physicality of this show, like you can't ignore it because you're right. He gives birth to the robot. The
Right.
robot is not something separate. In any other anime, it's constructed outside of you and you go inside of it, right? But in this one, it's like Conti eats him. It's born out of him. Each monster comes out of his body. It's sort of like this. It's a secretion. You know, it's very teenage in a way.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And it's also, I think there's a way to watch this show and also have these huge machines and these huge battles that happen along the way. On some level, I think are synonymous with sort of like human teen emotions and the bigness of emotions that you have, like and how everything seems overwhelming and huge, even if it's just a small breakup or whatever. At least that's what I hear.
Yeah, and you know what else is
Uh,
overwhelming to me is I gotta pee so fucking bad, man.
yeah,
I gotta pee, David Beckham. You think it's
yeah.
funny?
Hey, man, I always think it's funny when you have to pee.
I gotta pee. You know what, man? I gotta get
Let's
the
take
fuck.
a break.
Yo,
Just
Joe,
goodness.
get your ass in here, Joe.
Uh, oh God. Oh. Oh. Hey, it's just me. Joe, just regular old Joe.
Oh, yeah!
Oh God. I don't know where I am. I was sleeping and then I'm in space, and I mean this isn't the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I've had worse, but
Let me say it out loud. You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
yeah, I guess so. This ducky talks to me sometimes, and I try to just go with it.
We decided long ago.
I guess we decided long ago that the duck's just gonna talk to me, and yeah, I don't know this. I'm in a really weird place. I don't really know what's going on. It reminds me of. I'm just being reminded of when I was a kid. My parents made me go to a youth group, and at the youth group, I went around asking everyone if the Holy Spirit was a real ghost haunting the building, and then I didn't know where the bathroom was, and I was too scared to ask, so I just ended up peeing in the corner. It was one of the tougher
We
times.
decided long ago.
I decided to just pee in the corner.
Against the smooth evasion.
That's right. It was just the smooth evasion. You said it, Duck. You really said it.
And let me warn the nation.
Oh God. Oh God, you're so right, Duck. Thank you.
That the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, if you keep it into. I don't know what that means, Duck. Please explain.
Let me say it out loud. You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Oh God. What is that? I think the aliens are talking. They might be
Let me
coming
say
back.
it out loud. You know that I'm the.
Let me warn you. And let
We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and that the dangers of excessive that the dangers of excessive and
I
unwarranted
think the duck might be broken. This is a weird duck. Making a lot of
against the
noises.
smooth.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
Oh yeah.
I guess it does sound a little familiar.
Let me say it
Like
out
a
loud.
sad guy. Oh Jesus. Oh God.
Free at the
How-
Silver Dome in Pontiac.
What was that, Duck?
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
No.
we decided
Let me say it.
decided long ago.
No, stop, Duck. Stop yelling at me. Please.
We decided long ago. Excessive and unwarranted.
Cream of the crop.
Jesus. Oh God. I really don't like being in space. This is the worst. This is literally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
Let
no.
me say it out loud.
What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you? Because this might be the worst thing.
We
that has
decided
ever
long
happened to
ago.
me.
And let me warn the nation.
Oh boy, howdy. I don't know, Duck. I don't know what you're trying to warn the nation of, but we're in space, so it's probably not going to be possible. I'm not okay. No, God, no. I don't know what's happening. None of us know what's happening. We're hurtling through space. Everything's a lie. And I just want to go home, and I want to go to sleep in my goosebumps blanket and just forget about this.
Against the smooth evasion.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Duck. You said it. That was a very good
We
point.
decided
Well, I guess if you say so, there, Duck. You know, things get weird. I can't stand up to it. I don't want to fight the duck.
the dangers of
Anything that can talk.
we decided
Well, I was just walking down the street, and I got sucked up. I fell asleep in the middle of the street, and I got sucked up into the sky, and now I'm in here. And now these guys, I just keep hearing these aliens talk about anime, and I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why I'm here. I can't throw the duck out of the airlock. Ducks don't need air.
that the
Won't do
dangers
anything.
of
They'll just get
excessive
back
and
inside.
unwarranted concealment.
I do deserve better. Thank you. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a Tinder profile, and I'm gonna find a better duck.
Let me say it out loud. You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
I know they appreciate pop culture, but my mom won't let me watch TV, so I don't know anything about it.
We
The only thing
decided
I'm
long
allowed
ago.
is the Bible and Goosebumps.
All right, Joe, back to your cell,
Oh,
dog.
jeez,
Back to
okay,
your cell,
go.
Joe.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Please
All
don't
right,
hurt me.
fellas, you can get out of here now. Man, Joe sounds like he was having a fun time, right?
I think he's really loving the place so far, for sure.
How was your piss? I took a good piss, man.
And mine was great. It always is. You know, I like to go out into space to piss.
You literally left our ship to piss?
Yeah.
Dude, listen, I think you fucked it up. Remember, we were stuck for 5 years in another quadrant in a different galaxy because you left the airlock open that one time, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, dude, I learned from my mistakes. What can I say? I'm David Beckham.
All right, cool. So, what were your favorite moments of the show?
Who, man, I think I really like the fights in the show. I think on some level it seems like a throwaway thing where it's like, of course there's another anime show that's really good at action scenes, but I really enjoyed like the dynamic in the fights between, like, especially in that first fight when he like gets eaten by Kanti
Right.
for the first time. I thought that the way that whole scene played out, and just the way that they handled like just the mechanics of this dude like basically becoming this robot was really cool. It reminded me some of like Attack on Titan, just like how slick the fighting in Attack on Titan is.
Yeah, definitely.
And it felt like this was similar to that. I also really enjoyed this portion, like the middle section of it, where you were trying to figure out if like if he was going to actually be like meaningfully in love with any of the girls that he knew.
Yeah.
Because every time he was around one of them, it just felt a little schizophrenic, because it felt like he maybe loves all three of them, which is fine. There's nothing bad about that, but it just always felt like I thought that was cool in the way that the tension built into that scene where he kind of finds out, or I guess Robot Dad or somebody either did or didn't sleep with Haruka. His dad either did or didn't, or like the
Right.
robot one either did or didn't. I never really sorted that out, but I thought that was like I thought that tension, they did that tension really well, of like him being like, man, I fucking hate my dad now because I think he made out with my maybe girlfriend or whatever. So I thought they captured that part really well. What about you?
I think I'm gonna say the opposite of what you just said. Although I like that stuff, I think naked fucking giants popping up on their screen. That's what we like on the spaceship. I like this. I like the still moments in this show. I like these moments when Naoto's sitting there looking over a bridge with Mamimi. Yeah, she's swinging the bat just like that. When he's sitting there looking around, and it's because it's very counter to these shows we grew up with, like Dragon Ball Z and everything, where people are fighting, there's always action happening, stuff has to be happening. In this anime, there are moments like this one where they're laying down, and it's like nothing is happening. We're just sitting under a bridge, and it's existentialist. I mean, you're a smart guy, David Beckham. You know Albert Camus, The Stranger, that sort of thing. And I think this anime is very smart and sort of borrows from some of this stuff. These moments you're sitting around, it's kind of absurd, because life can be absurd sometimes, and you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think I agree. And there's a number of different shows that you and I have talked about. This is now one of them. I totally agree that really understands silence, as well as almost anything, even like non-animated movies that I've seen sort of on our trip here and stuff. I think before we left our homeworld, I remember I gave a friend of mine a copy of Samurai Champloo that I had Amazon send to our planet.
How long did it take Amazon to send that to our planet?
Now I think in the future they have 2-day delivery anywhere. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not.
You know what? I got my girlfriend teleported from Amazon, and it was like when she came through, like she wasn't herself. At least she was so hung up on the idea that she wasn't herself because she came out of the teleporter that we just couldn't. Like things couldn't work out. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that feels fucking bad, dude.
Yeah,
I think you should. I would cancel my Prime membership over that for sure.
Yeah, fucking Jeff Bezos didn't get back to me on that one. But okay, what do you think about the season 2 stuff? Because you explained it to me before. Can you please explain it to me and the viewers? What is happening with season 2?
I actually have not explained that to you because I do not know.
Okay, yeah. Well,
I started reading today, but I was catching up before the show, but I missed the first episode of season 2. Okay. So I'm a little in the dark. So I think it'd be better if you told me.
Well, I'm gonna tell you guys. It's a 2-part season, and we're gonna take questions. So I guess we're gonna see what's going on. All right,
yeah.
Do you guys have questions for us? Let's
go to the chat.
What's up? Ask us stuff. Do these aliens have Prime? Anna the Unknown wants to know, so you aliens are just into romance?
Yes and no. That sounds like a It sounds like you're making fun of me with that question.
Yeah,
Hannah.
I don't like that either. That's me.
But I would have to say, at times, but for the most part, I guess so. I guess I'm a bit of a sap. I mean, what can I say? I've spent a lot of time in space largely by myself. So, I mean, what else am I going to do?
That's true. David Beckham doesn't have all the answers.
Not in this case.
Can you guys experience... No, wait, whoa. What did I just read? Can you guys experience the same emotions as us? That's a good question, David Beckham. What do you think?
I'm not familiar enough. This is only the first episode of our show, and this is my first time.
Are you saying it's the first time you've ever experienced emotions? Come on, man.
No, I don't know humans well enough to know if they're on my level emotionally.
Look, I can say with confidence that I experience everything humans do deeper than them.
Damn.
Deeper.
That feels good, dude.
Yeah, man.
That's a shot across the bow. Is anybody in the chat want to challenge them on that?
Yeah, I want an emotional challenge from someone in the chat. Anyone in the chat who thinks they can be more emotional than me right now, you fucking come through, dude.
Yeah, come through.
Wabby Wab says, which FLCL characters would you make tender love to?
Haruko, next question.
All right, next question. Do you guys like the movie Hackers? Why is that funny to me?
I do like that movie. I think
WABI, can we get an image of Hackers up on the screen, please? Let's see if that'll come up. Let's see how long it'll take. Our AI is a little slow sometimes. But sorry, go ahead. David?
Yeah. No, I was saying I would make tender love to Haruko for sure.
No, the Hackers movie.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, also the movie Hackers is great. I love that movie. I watched it on our trip here. I think you were asleep, but I watched it on my way here.
Yeah, it's kind of... Yeah, I did fall asleep through that one because I don't remember it. But Angelina Jolie's in it, right?
Yes, and first of all, everything wrong with Hackers, whatever that article is, needs to be deleted from human internet. We don't. It's above reproach. Hackers is above reproach.
I have a lot of problems with everything wrong with, but we'll get into that in a different episode.
Yeah.
What else do we have? What are your hacker names? Mine is Baby Shoes XX.
Mine is Weed Demon 6969.
Mine is Let Me Get That Lotion, bruh. Let me get that lotion, bruh. Wrangle Dinkspud says mine is Doxmaster 99. I hope no one ever doxes us.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When you talk about sleep, you're talking about cryogenic sleep. Yeah, but also aliens age differently than humans do. So I think we do cryogenic sleep not because we want to avoid aging, but because we just don't want to be fucking bored. Yeah, because it took us a really long time to get from star system to star system. So, there's only so many movies and TV shows you can catch up on during that time, and albums you can listen to. We don't have internet necessarily in the same way, so it's hard to play video games with our friends back home.
I mean, WABI has internet access, and he likes to show videos of like Yoda and stuff. That's what he's showing us right now. I'm a Yoda fan. WABI loves Yoda. Radical I'm Legend says, do your eyes see the same color receptors as humans? Do you see more, less? I already fucking told you. I see the most color.
I want you to think about Crayon and I as like having eyes just like yours, but way fucking better. That's a good way, I think, to describe them. You know what I mean?
I'm actually a specific race of alien that has social media embedded into our brains at birth.
Yeah, man. The colors we can see have colors that they can see, which have colors that they can see. Think about that for a second, man.
That's pretty deep, dude. Let me think about that while you read the next question.
Let's see. Can you make any parallels between the film Hackers and the show FLCL? Crayon, what do you got?
That was me trying to think. Okay, you got some cool kids, right? That's one. Mm-hmm. You got hot chick, at least one.
Okay. Two parallels so far.
Yeah, you got two. You got guys with guns. There's not much gun action in this show though.
There's not.
FLCL? No.
No, I mean not. I mean he turns into a cannon at one time, they have those fights with the pellet guns. and then she is the lieutenant lady that's sent to kill, I think, Conti, right? Is she there to kill Conti or
the blonde chick?
Yeah. Anyway, she shoots a huge sniper rifle at some point.
Right. So there's guns.
Very, very, very badly. So yeah.
Rovender says, "How do you feel about the recent civil unrest in Quadrant 15 of the Andromeda Galaxy?" You're not supposed to know about that.
Yeah,
David,
man.
how does he know about that?
Dude.
How does he know?
4chan, probably. That's what I've heard.
Man, I told them.
Reddit.
I don't know how
Yeah,
this
that's bullshit.
Look, we're not going to talk about politics here. That's not what we're here.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't fuck with Q15, the 15th quadrant of that.
I went to Q15 once, and it's crazy what happened there, David. Do you know what happened in Q15? I'll tell you.
I just know that I had a really fucking bad vacation there.
I'll tell you why. Because of Emperor Cardi B. Like, what happened is Cardi, like, a portion of her hair floated into space after one of her music videos, and it floated to Q15. It took it like 3,000 light years, and it got to Q15, and then it basically replicated itself over millions of years in Q15 and became the super Emperor Cardi B. And she's over there terrorizing shit. I don't want to be there.
Is it just like a sentient lump of hair?
No, it's just two hands just clapping and just like
wow.
It's incessant for decades of this, David. Just,
Man, I do remember that sound. I do remember that sound from my time there. I think we have time for one more question.
Okay, cool. What do we got?
What are we going to take here? Let's see. Are we planning on invading Earth? Yes, but in a media-centric way.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes and no. Not in a violent way, but in a way that is no less real, I suppose. What do you have to add to that?
I agree. That was our plan. You know, when David and I started on this, we were like, man, you know, Earthlings, I mean, we love their culture, we love their media, and, you know, people always think that, you know, it's going to be lizard people, shapeshifters, Alex Jones type shit. But it's not that. We're not violent. I mean, like, I got into a fight, like, once. I got my ass beat. I don't want to talk about it. But, you know, media takeover. Like, media is the next level of how culture is going to be shifted and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm only here to become sort of an intergalactically famous show host and a sex icon. That's it. I mean, I have no interest in running an empire, any other empire that isn't related to that.
I could see it happening for you, man.
Thank you, man. That means a lot.
I think, like, I have a hookup with, like, Aubrey Plaza's sock. Like, a guy I know has access to that.
Just a sock?
Just Aubrey Plaza's sock.
Well, I guess you got to start somewhere, right? I mean,
yeah, pretty much. So let's start wrapping this up by just like final thoughts on FLCL, man. This is like beautiful, strange anime.
Yeah, I would say that it's actually a really good show, I think, to watch all at once. It's 6 episodes. It's 23. They're like 23-ish minutes long. Right. I think it's a really wonderful show. It's definitely worth the time, and I think it's really nice because I think the story happens so quickly, and also I think that there's like a sort of a tone sort of an emotional tone to the show that you connect into when you're watching it. I think it's much better to watch it as much as you can all the way through at once, or at least in blocks, so that you can sort of stay in that sort of that on that wavelength for longer while you're watching it. I think I think from the emotional fabric of the show, it's a little different. It's a little difficult to just step into and out of very quickly. What about you?
What you said just now is so beautiful and succinct, and I know we have to close. So the last thing I have to say is I agree with everything David said, and it's just I want you to pay attention to those still moments too. Just it is an exciting show, but those still moments I think is where the money is, and I think it is an example of where our media can go when we sort of deconstruct things and take time with what we're watching. Go ahead and live in this world. All right, we're going to thank you guys for watching Future Late Show Episode 1. We will be back. David and I will be back. I am Crayon.
I'm David Beckham.
Goodbye, everybody.
God. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. I don't even know. What? What was that? Yeah. What are you saying, Duck? Are you trying to talk to me?